I was like, why am I hearing this twice? Oh, that's why. So we're back. We're in a different beanie this time. So there was a bit of a problem this morning. I woke up and I got 2 emails from Apple. I don't own any Apple products at all. I used to, so that's why I have the Apple ID and stuff. And I do have an iTunes. I don't use it though. Saying something along the lines of like, "Hey, we got your purchase," and I was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh God, have I been hacked?" And sure enough, I like log in and I reset all my passwords and stuff, and there's like a different credit card number. So I'm like, "Oh Jesus!" So I'm pretty sure my iCloud or my Apple ID is like hacked. So I'm trying to figure that out, and then I'm like, "Oh well, I need to get coffee for the stream." So down the street from me is a coffee place. Well, there's a gas station inside the coffee place. I go there almost every day to grab coffee because it's just right there, and I don't have like anything to brew coffee here right now. I will have something soon so that if I'm late for a stream or if it's like getting close, I can just brew something and then, you know what I mean. But I always get this large beast, and Tim Hortons is the brand that's near me. If you're from Canada, you probably know Tim Hortons. Oh man, this beanie is like a lot tighter too. So, but anyways, yeah. Sorry about not streaming yesterday. What had happened was my what normally happens when I don't stream, which is my alarm didn't go off, and by the time I woke up, it was like a couple hours past when I normally stream, and I'm gonna try to start not just streaming whenever, and only streaming on the times that I say I'm gonna stream. Because if I just stream whenever and just say screw it and have all these weird starting times, no one's gonna, no one's gonna be able to follow all that all the time. Because I do put updates in the channel feed, and I do put updates on Twitter of when I start streaming. But no one's gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it just won't make as much sense. Your iPad wasn't charged yesterday? Yeah, well, I wasn't streaming. Yeah, because like I said, I woke up a couple hours past when I normally stream, and normally what I would do is just do another stream, but like later in the day. But that just never seems to work out well. It's always better if I just start the stream at a certain time every single day. The only time that it's different is on the weekends, because the weekends it can pretty much be any time. And there's more people that are viewing Twitch anyways, so it's not as big a deal. In fact, last weekend was very busy. I was very happy with the amount of support that we had and the amount of people that just came by and just had all these requests for songs. It was really cool. But yeah, anyways. Just need to update the channel feed with something. So I try to give everybody the opportunity to be like, if someone's confused on like what I'm doing today, on any given stream, when I'm streaming, how often I stream, any info, I try to give everyone the opportunity to see all that stuff. By putting it in the info section, by putting it on Twitter, by putting it wherever, just so that everyone has, a full grasp of what's going on here. But anyways, we gotta switch to this because I gotta see if this is decently centered. And now it is. It's much better. Perfect. Alright. So today we're working on, well, let me go by this. Monday we spent pretty much the entire time working on a rearrangement of a Sonic Adventure song. That, to be honest with you, was not one of my favorite things that I've ever written. It was alright, but it wasn't my favorite thing. So I, after a while, we kind of just said, alright, here's what it's gonna look like. And we wrote it down quickly, and then we were taking the next like half hour or so, the next hour almost, to kind of discuss what we were gonna do the next string, right? So we, well, I had come up with the idea of doing something like a reworking of an Undertale song, right? Um, Undertale is a pretty popular song, pretty popular game. I had thought about doing what I did like with the Myst series, which is like redoing all the music and making my own version of the music. But I thought let's take it one step at a time because there's a lot of Undertale music, right? There's like I think in the OST alone there's like 65 songs. Now some of them are like stupid, like some of them are just like the elevator song, which is just one note that just ooze and as the elevator's going down, and then there's stuff that's just like in Naps the Blook's house, which is just real simple and easy, right? So I thought let's take one of the main songs and let's kind of rework that. So I decided on, let me find it. I'll play for you the song that I decided on, that I'm gonna kind of rewrite. Well, thanks for stopping by anyways, man. I appreciate it. But anyways, that's the song. Okay. And that is the song that happens in the game when... Let me think about this. I think it's either right before or right after you... I think it's right after you meet Alphys. It's the core song. It's the core music, basically. So the reason I picked that is because it's one of the main songs in the game. It happens for a while. It loops. What's also kind of cool about it is that it's its own separate thing. A lot of Undertale music, is a theme and variation. What that basically means is that it takes themes from a couple of different songs in the very beginning of the game and will reuse them. And this is it's like somewhat separate from all the others, because if you listen to any Undertale song in that original soundtrack, it is either based off of one of two things: the main theme, or it's based off of the ruins music that you hear, which is like the tutorial section of the game where when you're in the ruins with the tutorial. So that would be either... Well, I think this is just... Yeah. Right, that's the main theme, and then the ruins music is this. So almost every single song in the game is based around those two songs. Almost every single one, literally, can be linked back in some way to those two songs. However, the certain songs in the game are their own separate entities, and this is one of them. Flowey's theme is one of them. Although even Flowey's theme kind of has no, no, it's its own thing. This is one of them, and like the four main stages, most of the music in those are kind of separate. And by four main stages, I mean the area near Snowden Town, the snowy area, which is like everyone loves this song. This is like my favorite song in the whole thing. Right. What's the other one? Waterfall? It's kind of its own thing. Uh, Although I can't even say that. That's not even true. That's Ruins. Just slowed down. This is why I love the Undertale music, because a lot of it is like that, where you hear like, because I thought that was its own thing, but you hear it, you listen to it for a little bit, and you're like, wait a minute, no, it's completely different. Metaton's music is a little different. A lot of songs are based around that. When it gets to the I guess the chorus of the song. This. A ton of things are based around that. What else? And then the core. The core is kind of its own separate thing. It has some resemblances to some other things that are going on in the game, but again, there's 65 songs, which means there's actually more. According to this, there's 101. So, you're gonna kind of forget about a few, and I would love to do a stream where I kind of just break down all the Undertale music, because that would be so awesome, just to like explain it away and to really put in detail about explaining it, and like how it all kind of meshes together and stuff. It's really cool. This is kind of its own thing. This is in the laboratory, which I love this music. It's very good. They do a good job with this one. But anyways, that's its own separate thing too. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Might have been it. Sans has his own sort of thing too. His own sort of music. And Undyne kind of has her own sort of music too. So does Alfie's actually. Yeah. All the characters tend to have their own thing. Obviously, Papyrus has a totally different thing. But yeah. Anyways. That's all that. Let me get back to core. There it is. Alright. I want to have that up and ready so that we can listen to it a few times. So, there's actually a couple songs that are based around core in the game, and I want to listen to those too. One of them is this. This is a song that plays against Metaton. Same style. Right. There's a couple of others that are also kind of based around that song. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Oh, no, it's not that. Yeah, I really like that song. It's really cool. Anyways, so my kind of thought process when rewriting something like this is we want to kind of keep it. We want to treat it more as like a spiritual successor to this song than rewriting it completely, which is more than I can say for some of the stuff that we've done, right? Some of the stuff that we've written isn't quite like that. As an example, the Pokemon credit music that we wrote isn't really taking from any Pokemon music. I mean, the Pokemon theme is in there, but the rest of the song is not like taking, or it's not like a spiritual successor. It's just its own thing, right? The start of a horror game song is not taking from anything, and I wouldn't even say it's a spiritual successor to the Layers of Fear thing that I was playing. I would just say it's there, right? The Valhalla song that I wrote, I would say, is kind of its own thing. It's not really like using anything that's already in the game. This we may want to tie it a little closer to the music in the game, as something that's similar to that is like the Kingdom Hearts thing that we wrote, very first thing we wrote on stream. That's pretty close to what is the original Kingdom Hearts thing, right? The thing we wrote goes like, hey, turn the volume up. It's actually in the same key, and then the original is this. The original is actually in the same key. Well, it starts in the same key, then it actually ends up going to C minor. But anyways. So this might want to be somewhat similar, right? We may want to keep the same like disco-y type feel. And there's actually a song that I was thinking of that might be a good thing to base it off of. And I don't know why this popped into my head. But I was listening to it, and I was like, huh, this is actually not a bad song to base it off of. If I can find it. Here's the OST. Oh, man, there's 65 songs. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it specifically, but let me... Is it this? Holy crap. Wasn't that? That was so loud. I'm only gonna click on a few more. So if I'm not even close, we'll... No. Is it like this? No, but that's a sick song. Dude, I keep forgetting to get this game. Love this music. I know it is. If I can find it. Like, I know how it goes. I just don't know what the actual name of the song is. Is it this? No. Although that's a sick song, too. I know it's not that. Like I said, the problem is it's not that. There's fucking way too many songs. No, I'm not gonna be able to find this. I straight up don't remember the name of it. Damn. Oh well. It's not all that important. I was just something that I was thinking of basing it off of. That music, by the way, is from that bartending simulator game that I was talking about. I've been talking about like crazy recently, because I think that the music is so good for it, and I think it needs to be. I think it needs to be mentioned like all the time. It's such a good. Like the music for it's so good. Anyways, let's talk about how we're gonna do this. So the original song's in minor. Keep that in mind. That's something that we also will want to do. The original song also is. And it has this disco thing, right? I'm trying to figure out what's up top, right? I'm only speculating. And then the top, or that part at the bottom there goes like a. Right? So it's all in minor. It's all in C sharp minor. So that's an important thing to remember, or to keep in mind, that it's in minor. However, if you keep going on with the song, right? Those are really the only two chords in the whole thing. Is C sharp minor and B minor. Right. And then the B section is where it changes up slightly. Now, like I said, this doesn't have like any real ties to the game. It's kind of its own separate thing. Otherwise, we may want to take from the game in some way, right? However, a couple of important things that are going on with this. We have multiple different lines going. We have like three, right? We have the... whatever's up top there. And then we have... and they're in tandem. And then we have this... right? Right. You have that going on, and then eventually it does the same thing. You know, it's slightly different when it changes keys there, but and then the actual melody, which is the... Dee doo da doo. Dee doo da doo. Man, I really wish I could think of that, or I can find that song that I'm really hoping I just click on it on accident, because it's almost exactly what I want to do. Man, this really sucks. That's not bad. That kind of feel, that's like the same thing. That right there could be implemented with the... I'm trying to figure out what is going on there in this. I believe that this is the outside of the chord, but the inners of the chord are changing. Like that. You know what I mean? I think it's like that. Right? Slightly. That's actually really close, though, to what I want. That song. That could be applied, right? That's in a different key, right? It's, we do. So, like, if I played it like this, like, you wouldn't know the difference. That's the same thing as core. It's just in that version of it, right? So if I play that over top of this, and then eventually it goes... It's nothing like, I can't tell. Hold on. Let's play it through once. Right. Except for that second part of the song, you would not be able to tell the difference between the two if I played it, right? Right, same thing as core. It's got like that same sort of beat, and then you could do that boop boop bop boop bop boop 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 to continue to develop it out further. That's actually an interesting key to do it in. Let's do it in E minor. Yeah, we're gonna do this in E minor. And the reason I wrote out a grand staff is because I knew that there was gonna be multiple. Yeah, we'll keep it in 4/4. I knew there was going to be multiple lines that we might want to write. So in that case, we need a grand staff for that. You can't just write chord changes. That's not the song that I was thinking of, that I wanted to kind of replicate. God, I wish I could find that. Is it this? I'm going to keep clicking through. It's not that. I've almost clicked through all of them now at this point, so I might as well. This. That beginning. That reminded me a lot of it, right? Of kind of what I wanted to do to start this one off. And I want to keep it around that tempo, too. The other thing we're going to want to do is get the electric piano out, because especially with this, all of Undertale's music is like really 8-bit MIDI-ish. At least it starts off that way, and then eventually it gets developed into like a full-fledged MIDI song. All of it's MIDI, I'm assuming. The only one that I'm like hesitant about calling MIDI is Snowy. The one that I said was my favorite. This. It's probably MIDI, but I guess my heart is like, I hope they like live recorded this, but I doubt they live recorded this. Or maybe somebody played it. Like this quartet, this string quartet is so, it sounds great. Right? And I just feel like somebody did this live. This. I guess I kind of hope that somebody did it live. Probably didn't, but I do hope. Wow. I just realized we're almost at another milestone. We're almost at 3,000 total views, which would be really cool if we can accomplish that either today or tomorrow. That'd be neat as hell. I don't know how many views I average, but I guess it kind of depends on how many days in a row I stream, right? Because if I stream a bunch of days in a row, I tend to just get like people coming back and stuff. But if I miss a day, like I did yesterday, it tends to come to a startling halt. Which is why it sucks for me too when I miss a day, because then, shit happens. But nothing you can really do when you just get screwed over by your alarm clock. But anyways, we want to create a couple lines here that we can do for this. So we've decided an E sharp, yeah, E minor. And we decided kind of that tempo of that song, of this. Let me tap that out. I want to see what the exact tempo is on that. Let me hear it. Yeah, that's about right. 110. It's about right, I would say. Right? Not quite 120, which is like the most common tempo in all of music. It's not quite that. It's a little slower. But it's not quite 100. 100. A lot of the times what people will do when they're trying to figure out tempos is they'll have certain tempos in their head that they use to like recall back to, and the tempo marking 100 is the same as Staying Alive. Staying alive, staying alive, which is a little bit slower than that. It's kind of in between. Anyways, that's that. I forgot I gotta leave one of these open so I can hear the keyboard better, so I'm not just pounding on it because I can't hear it properly. Anyways, let's continue. So, keeping about that tempo. We gotta come up with some sort of line that we can use here. I'm thinking we start it with a bass line instead of the other way around. So like in the original, it's, or in this case, it'd probably be up here, like, right? Instead of starting it up there, I kind of want to start it with a bass line. So let's start it with a bass line. I don't want it to be too complicated either. Just a little too quiet to you? I'm coming up with weird stuff. I kind of like that though. Right now, this is turning it into more of like a funk than a disco sort of feel, which is okay. That's fine. Because again, we don't want it to be exactly the same. And this also has chords in it. There's actually, you'd be surprised if you listen to any Undertale song, there's very few chords, like actual played out chords in the music. A lot of the times, like there are chords in this at the top, right? Right, there's those chords. But everything else is a line. I mean, listen to all the moving parts in this once it gets going. Here. I mean, there's so much going on there. There's 4 different things going on there. There's the... And then there's the... Right? And then there's the... There's that going on, and then there's the drums going on, and then eventually, while that's all going on, we have that's going on, right? There's a lot of different moving parts going on in that song. So how do I want to do this? No, I like the other. I like that. Maybe we could do. What kind of chord would that be? I didn't think it has to make sense, right? Right. So I like this. This would make sense in some way. And then we have to somehow get back to E minor, right? But let's write that down, what we have at least right now. so that we have it. So da 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 da. So we have this. We have one of these wonderful dotted 8th, 16th notes. And then we have this. This would be not a dotted 8th, 16th, but one of these. Do 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 do. And then probably a 16th rest. That because there's a bit of a break. So what do we have here at this point? We have 1 beat, 2 beats, and then an 8th rest, 16th rest, and then it would go like this. This would be a dotted 8th. Really, the garbage dude's gotta come like right now. Alright. So you have beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. Right? All makes sense. So I'm just making sure I'm writing that out correctly, right? Because I don't want like leave this alone for a week, come back, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then we'll go on from there after that, but here we have an E minor 7 chord, and this is played through a bunch of times, continuing with the same melody, right? Or same bass line. So I write an arrow just to kind of indicate that we're going to continue this bass line. I have to keep writing it out over and over again. And then it's an A7 chord with E in the bass. These are super long phrases, by the way. So we're going to break this off here and just say we're repeating this a bunch. You know, I don't know how long exactly. We could do something like I just thought of this. Yeah. But that's looking a little overkill, I think. Just doing. You know what I mean? That's just a little too much. But it would fit more with the style of funk. Well, that actually fits more with the style of disco and like boogie woogie. I'm going like. We don't want it to be quite that intense. So then we have this next section, which I kind of like. which actually we'll probably have to write this out quite. This is going to take up like a decent chunk of a measure to write all of this out. So in this case, we're going to make this just one whole measure because this is a lot to write out. Yeah, because that's going to take, that's like, dun, 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 dun. So we have, so we need to write all that out. So the interesting thing about this is the baseline actually all comes in on 1, and all of the chords, except for the first one, comes in on and. I guess that's not true at all. That's completely false. So it goes 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So it looks like this. This is another dotted 8th, 16th, and then boo. Yeah. Okay, so this is gonna look like this. Oh, oops. See why I need pencil? And then this is tied. One E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. So this I think is tied to it just an 8th note. So that's supposed to be a dotted 8th because it's supposed. Oh, yeah. Not exactly. It's slightly different. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So that's how that goes. So I need to write that out. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. A 3 E, a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So this is just another 16th note. Which I could just do that. And then it would be, I believe this is a D. Boo, boo, doo, 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 doo. Yep. Doo, doo. 16th rest. And then same thing. So how many beats do we have right now? We have one here, one here. We're about to have a third one, and then we need another 4th beat. So, it should be this. Right? Makes sense? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's broken up that way. And then this is the exact same thing. Same rhythm, just in a different key, essentially. But we still want to write it out. And then we also have to figure out how we're going to resolve all of this, because this can't, with what we're playing right now, the last chord that we play throughout all of this is a really weird G chord that I probably have to write out because it's very bizarre. I don't even really know how I can explain this. What I would probably say, because what it is B flat, E flat, and A flat with G in the bass, right? So how would you explain? How would you explain that away? I would probably explain it away as like an A flat major chord, or an A flat sus chord with G in the bass, because it's really weird, right? Because it's not, there's just nothing that's tying it to G necessarily. I guess you can call it like a G, like super ridiculously altered G chord. I like the chord. I think it sounds good. I think it fits well with it. All of these chords are going to be written out because they, with the rhythms and stuff, they have to be written out. So I guess the way that this would be spelled out and played is this would be 1 E into 2 E into. So this is like this. The sharp here. And then another sharp here. It's supposed to be G sharp. 1 E into 2 E into. These are all tied to the same thing. 1 E into 2 E. 2 G sharp. You can tell they're all tied, hopefully. I know it's kind of like a weird scramble of things. Let me erase it and make it a little bit better. And there are dots here, which indicates that there's a dotted quarter note tied to a 16th note. Okay. And then we have this, and then, well, actually this line would be right up against this D like that. Oh god, what the fuck? I meant for these to have sharps. Right? And then these are then tied to the same thing, and then this would be 1 E into 2 E, other E. They should be tied to half notes. Like that. To indicate it's coming down on and. Now we gotta do the second part of this. And then we have that part done. Now, I still would say that there's gonna be like a B section to this song. This is just kind of a beginning. And then we have to figure it out after that. But this next part is same thing rhythmically. They're just different chords. So, do I want to write G sharp here? Is that going to make sense? Yeah, it would, I guess. It would be kind of stupid, but oh well. It's in different. Now, I should write A flat. Another fun tip when it comes to musical syntax is whether or not you're going to write flats or sharps. So we're in a sharp key, so you should write mostly sharps. You shouldn't really write flats at all, unless you're like completely changing keys. So you should try to make everything sharp. But if I wrote G sharp instead of A flat in the same measure, I have to write a regular G natural. So I'd have to write a bunch of accidentals next to those too. So it's actually better to just write it as A flat instead of G sharp. There's always rules. There's always just really weird rules when it comes to writing music. And I'm sure that if I plugged this into some sort of music program, they would be furious that I'm doing it this way. But because, like I said, you really shouldn't mix up the two. But this ain't no music program. This is another reason why I don't use music programs when I'm writing music. Because they kind of force me to do exactly the way that they want. So this is the same exact thing, actually. And then this gets repeated. From here to here. And now we have to write out the actual chords over top, which is, again, same rhythm as this, there's just different chords. And here's the other problem with this, right? Whatever happens on the top here in the treble clef should also match what happens in the bottom in the bass clef, which means that I should write flats here. However, the chord that I'm playing up top is an E, just like a straight up E major chord. I know it doesn't make sense with the, well, it does make sense with this, but it wouldn't make sense like right away if you looked at it or if you listen to it, but it actually does make sense. It's like the chord would be like an A flat 7 altered chord with a sharp 11 in it. Well, I guess the sharp 11 doesn't count anymore, but we can actually change this to this. Yeah, we can actually leave out the E here. I think that would actually make it sound better. Oh no, what sounds better? I'm going to play two different versions of this. Or this. It's very subtle. It's only that first chord. Or, I don't know. I don't think it makes that big of a difference either way. But maybe I'll play this again in like a week and be like, oh wow, that was horrible. Why'd I keep that? Unfortunately, it changes that quickly sometimes. So this is going to be kind of a pain in the ass to write, but we got to write it with flats because the rest of the song has flats. And if we write G sharp, yeah, no, we really should write it this way. Should try to be at least somewhat the same. I'm going to make sure I write this with a natural because down here, this is flatted. So if this is flatted down here, we want to indicate that this is natural, or else people will just assume that they're both flatted, and it's going to sound like that instead of that, which is a subtle change, but it makes a world of difference if I play it together with the bass line. So then these are all tied to this. And then this is the same chord as this one up here, but we do have to now make these sharped. And the reason that we're making these sharped is because the chord down at the bottom there well, the chord that I'm basically outlining with the bottom here is supposed to be a G major chord in some way. The G major something. So if that's the case, then they have to be sharped because G major has sharps in it. Tied. Okay. If you were writing this out for like a classical player or something, that's the best way probably to write it out. Now the other thing that we could do, because there's chords in this, sometimes, and I totally understand this train of thought, I've been, people say this all the time, electric pianos sounds aren't really all that great for hearing the subtlety and fullness of a chord. Like, you could play a chord, right? And it sounds good. And you could pretty much play any kind of pure sounding chord, it's going to sound pretty good. If there's too much distortion or, like, too much closeness, like... you don't really get to hear all of the chord, right? And there's a little bit of distortion in this, so you can't really hear those subtleties. So if you play it on a regular grand piano sound, it sounds 10 times better. Because you can hear everything. Everything comes out, right? It doesn't sound as... I guess the word I define it as, it doesn't sound as definitive as an electric piano sound, right? This is just, that's what it is, right? You can hear it. It's just, this, you can kind of hear some subtle things going on. I think that sounds fine, though. Right? You hear that a lot better. But it sounds cooler, and it's how we're going to play it with the electric piano sound. Plus, moving lines sound better with electric piano than they do with a regular piano. I don't know. I always thought they did. I was just thinking about other lines I could use. Because eventually what I want to do is repeat this again with like a line over top of it that's like the melody line essentially. But first things first, we have to resolve this so that it can get back to here. Because we can't just keep repeating this and then go back to it, you know what I mean? Well, I can understand that. I have a very interesting and, well, not, no. I don't want to call it interesting. I have a very bizarre writing style. Where I mix up things like writing out full chords with not writing out full chords, and then bass lines, and then arrows, and like I try to explain them off to people, but it ends up kind of being cluttered. So I promise it's not that complicated. It's just that I have a kind of a bizarre writing style. If anyone ever wants anything explained to them, or if I didn't make any sense, I feel free to let me know, because I'd love to explain it. Because I know I kind of rush things, because when I'm in the moment, when I'm writing something that I really like, I will just go fucking crazy and just write through just this is this and this is this and this and this. So if I'm going too fast or anyone wants anything explained, feel free. I will definitely go over it. But anyways, we have to resolve this back to E, because it just doesn't sound good. Oh, that meme. Thank you very much for the follow, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying the show, and stay tuned. But listen to how this sounds, okay? I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna pretend that this is going straight back to the top of the song. It does not sound right, okay? Ready? I mean, it's okay, but there's no real, like... Okay, if you ever heard, like, a funk song, first of all, a lot of funk songs are in F minor. I don't know why. They're in F minor. And they're usually, like... right? And then a lot of the times they have that one chord that, like, say they're off doing their own thing, and then all of a sudden they have that one chord. Right? They have that one chord that kind of brings them back to the top. There's a ton of funk songs that do this, and it's always that chord specifically that I just played. But they have this. Right? And then, you know, they're going off doing their own thing. Right? They always have a 5 chord that's altered that brings them back to the top. So in this case, since we're in E minor, we would have to bring that 5 chord down a half step and then be something like this. It would be like. Right? And so we're playing this, you know. Back to the top. There's always that. I don't know why. That's like a staple of funk music. Because there's always that one, like, altered chord that really gives you that definitive, like, all right, we're moving on, we're going back. So I kind of want the same thing here, right? Because we're kind of going through some tropes. We're going through some funk tropes. Because again, the song that we are kind of redoing, and by redoing, I don't mean that we're like writing down the song and then rearranging it. We're like totally redoing. Is this, which has all the tropes, has all the disco-y tropes and funky tropes in it. Right? I mean that like that's like so that happens all the time in like disco music. So I'm rewriting it as like kind of a funky type of thing, and that's like a classic funk thing. Is that line? So. So I'm adding all these tropes. So I want a trope. Again, I want like that cliche. I want that. I want that in there. Let me refresh the stream quickly here. I want it to be a little cliche. Alright, it's already got some weirdness in it, right? Those chords are really weird. So it's got my own, like, touch on it. But I want it to be a little cliche. Nah, don't do that. We can even change it. We can have it start like this. And then when we do this big, the only problem is that's been so overdone that I'd be worried that I'd actually get, like, someone would copyright me for that, because that's so common. What I'm doing is just enough that it might not be like. Here's the thing: as a musician, I listen to a lot of music, but I don't know if that exactly has been already done by somebody, which I'm sure it has, but like I wouldn't know. This I know has been done. Probably in the exact same key, in the exact same style, in the exact same chords that I'm playing. I know this hasn't. That's just too bizarre. But you have to worry about that too as a musician. You don't want anything to be like too close. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we feel. We have to resolve this still. So we have all this going on, right? So let me play around a little bit and see if I can come up with something. That's not bad. Okay, so what I did was... It's a little weird, right? But it's just a little... It all works. And I'm not playing any, like, too bizarre chords. The only problem is that's kind of an odd meter exchange, right? I might want to change that a little bit so it makes more sense. I like those chords. I want to write them down. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at this point here. I'm going to play what I just played, and I'm going to try to get back to here and try to make it make sense, okay? I mean, it definitely makes sense logically. I just don't know if it makes sense musically. What I mean by that is the movement of the chords all makes sense. What I'm doing is I'm going from F sharp minor, which is the first chord in this series, sliding down a half step to F minor, and then going to B flat minor. So all that makes sense. Then sliding down another half step to A minor, and then going to a D minor chord, and then sliding down another half step to C sharp minor, and then I haven't decided yet if I want to do C sharp minor, F sharp 7, which is a 2-5, or just C sharp minor, and then sliding down to a whole step to this, or if I go this, which is the 5 chord B7 that leads into E. Right. I haven't decided yet what I want to do with that. So I'm going to play it a couple more times. Or maybe like... Right? I like that a lot, but I just don't know if it sounds all that great. Again, all of the chords logically fit. I just don't know if it sounds that great to an audience. You know what I mean? It's a little cluttered. Let's just try with a grand piano sound. Maybe if I had more going on, because it just sounds like I'm bouncing around from chord to chord, right? Maybe if I made them weird rhythms. Kind of what I was trying to do there. Right, so I'm kind of like starting all those on weird times, right? Maybe if I did something like that, and that was quick enough too. What I just did there was quick enough that it was, you know what I mean? It is a funky approach. You're very right. Yeah, the chords don't sound bad themselves, and they all logically fit. Like I said, it's just that I don't know if that's like interesting enough. You know what I mean? Because I'm just holding down chords. Here, I was holding down chords, but there was this bass line. No one's listening to the chord, you're listening to the bass line, because there's interesting stuff. Here, same thing. And the second half of the song, after I do this resolve and go back to the top, I want to add something even higher. You know what I mean? I want to add something even higher up. That could be used as like a melody. You know, something like that or whatever. The second time around, we're going to keep all this, but add something up higher, right? That'll be the melody. This kind of is almost like an intro, I guess is how I would define this, right? I think what I need to do is make this sound really odd in terms of the rhythms, but speed it up a little bit so that it makes sense, right? You know what I mean? Make it sound just really all off beats and stuff, and all just like, why is it metered that way, and why is it there, why isn't it, you know what I mean? And then just all of a sudden we get to, and then back to that, right? Yeah, I think that's what needs to happen. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write out the chords without bar lines, and then we're going to just kind of see how we feel on the topic. Just because there will be a bass line, I think. I definitely want there to be a bass line of some kind. I'm going to erase this bar line that I wrote. And I just want to write out the chords because I don't want to forget them. So what happens is that there's this F sharp minor chord, right? And then it goes to F minor 7. And then it goes to B flat minor 7. And then it goes from B flat minor 7 to A minor 7. Then there's a D minor 7, but it's a little altered. It's actually like a D minor 6. And then it goes to C sharp minor. And then it goes to a C7 altered chord. And then it goes to B7 altered, which then leads back to E. Right? 5-1. Thinking of some different song. Anyways, those are the chords. I kind of like the idea of starting it like this started. To that. This is sounding less and less like Undertale. The original purpose of this song was to be an Undertale song, and it's starting to sound less and less like one, which I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but this tends to happen sometimes with music that I write. I will say, I want it to sound like this. All right, let's go. And then I start getting into the heat of things, and then it doesn't sound anything like it. This actually sounds a lot more like that game that I was telling you guys about before, which was the bartending simulator, the Valhalla bartending simulator. This is starting to sound more like that music, which is like this. That's a bad example. It's starting to sound like it fits more in here than it does in Undertale, right? Definitely sounds better in here. Or like this. I love this. Maybe it's because I haven't been able to get this out of my head since I found this game. I fucking love this game. It's so good, though. Music is great. What's another good song? Look up. Where's Skyline? Skyline's pretty good. You gotta get into it a little bit. I love this music, though. It's so good. And this is starting to sound more and more like this music now, instead of what I originally intended it to be. Right? This fits way better in that scenario. I really want to do that so bad, but I know it doesn't sound good. You can even, like, ramp this up in tempo. Ramp it up in tempo a little bit, almost like if that was like a boss fight, right? You'd start off by just kind of like entering, like, think about this. Has anyone ever played Pokemon Coliseum? It's a good example. Pokemon Coliseum has an enemy, has a boss in it named Mirror B, who's like this disco freak. This kind of sounds like it would fit there too, right? You meet him. Right? And then all of a sudden you're battling him. And all of a sudden it's like really ramped up, which is kind of an interesting thought. So if we did something like that. Okay, this is gonna sound weird. We're gonna change this to a couple different things. Comma. Just want to mention this is the game, the bartending simulator game. And I'm just putting commas because I think that they would fit in all of these scenarios. It even I mean, the slow version of it even sounds kind of Undertale-y. Like, it might fit. Maybe wrong, but to me, it does a little bit. You know, I'm making all these assumptions. We haven't even finished the song yet, so I definitely want it to go like that. So probably the first part of this is going to still be in 4/4, and then we don't really know after that. Do 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 do. Do do do. Do boo doo boo 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 ba doo ba. So it's gonna sound like this. Da ba da ba da ba. And they're all on off beats. Da ba da ba da da ba da da. Da 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 da. So what do we have right now? One. These are like this. Oh, well, in this case, this should actually probably be tied with it, huh? 1, 2, 3. Right? Boop, ba. 4 and. I knew it. I knew it as soon as I hit it. Doop doop ba doo da. So we'll go like this. And then this would be flatted. Damn. Hey, kitty cat, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. You know, and we'll go on from there. So the next part of this is to figure out exactly how we're gonna write the rest of this, because it's gonna get weird before it gets good. Before it gets good. Pretty sad. Why is that? Oh man, that sucks. Oh dang. Well, I hope that all gets resolved for you. I know what it's like to not have a good computer. I had my computer before this, which I bought. This is the first thing I bought when I got out of college, was this gaming computer, and now I'm using it to write music. But the first thing I bought straight out of college was a gaming computer, which was like less than $1,000. And this ended up being like a little less than $1,000. This computer. Well, you can't get pessimistic about it. You never know. You may stumble across something and be fortunate about it. But I had a Mac before I had this, and it was a MacBook Pro, and I had it for 4 or 5 years, and it was one of the worst computers I ever had, because it started breaking down hardcore. Like, it was to the point where I couldn't go like this with the screen, and then it would just flicker and die. It had to be perfectly set in a spot, and it was just crazy. Yeah, rent costs will get you. I know this place is a little. It's turning out to be a little more expensive than I thought it was going to be too when I first moved out. But I do know what it's like to have a shit computer. You know, it's one of those tough things. But yeah, the garbage man is outside, which is just awesome. Okay, so what we're trying to do here at this point is we're trying to figure out an interesting and kind of odd metered way to get through these series of chords to get back up to the top of this song. Okay, let me wait till the garbage truck goes by. Oh, nope, nope, nope. He's got one more stop. That's what he's got. Jesus Christ, dude. Did I really? Oh, Jesus. You're totally right. It auto-corrected on me or something. I didn't type Undertale, I don't think. I can't edit it? Really? I have to just straight up delete it? That is new to me. Yeah, delete the post, I guess. And just type it in again. There we go. Oh, now they're shouting at each other. This is awesome. I love it when the garbage truck does this. I can tell you one thing. I probably will not live in the city like I am again next year. Especially if I'm still streaming, because I shouldn't even say if. I should say when. Especially since I'm still streaming. Yeah, I might have accidentally hit K. Either that or it auto-corrected for me. But anyways. There ends up being more noise in the city than you'd think. Okay, so this next part of the song, we're trying to figure out how to make it all work, right? And we want it to be kind of, you know, divided up. I don't play CSGO. My FPS of choice is Overwatch right now. I never really been into first-person shooters to begin with, except for I was super into Halo 3 when Halo 3 was a thing. But after that, I never got into COD. I never got into any other shooters. And then a buddy of mine showed me Overwatch, and I got really into it. Now I'm super into Overwatch. Thank you. I appreciate that you like. I'm glad you like the song. This has turned from an Undertale song into something completely different, but now it's a 3-parter. It could fit in any 3 of these. I've decided it can fit in that cyberpunk bartending simulator thing I was talking about, and it also fits with, if you ever played Pokemon Coliseum, Mirror B is one of the bosses, and I think it fits with him too. I actually think I have CSGO. I just don't play. I'm pretty sure I own it. In fact, I can let you know, because I'm gonna open up my Steam account and I'm gonna let you know. I am almost certain I actually own CSGO. Yes, I do. I must have bought it a long time ago. I just don't play it. I'm not. It's funny. I mean, I don't know if you can see this in the background. See this? Like here, here's my couch, right? And you can see there's a PS4 controller, there's PS4, and then there's an Xbox One controller right there, right? Below all that, I have 13 consoles. You can't see them, but these are on this is on a TV stand, and there are 13 consoles all on that. Because I like to collect consoles, and you can see all the stupid ass games I have. I have some really weird ass games. Dude, I love this. Isn't this couch sick? I love this couch. This is the one thing I cared about when I moved out. I said, I don't care if I have. There's two things I want. I need a decent bathroom, and I need a good couch. So the bathroom was out of my control, but the couch was in my control, and I was I love this couch. Yeah, I mean I can do. It's a webcam, so I can't take it over, and it's plugged in, so I can't take it over too far. But what I can do is something like this. Let me see if I can. You can kind of see them. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't come out any farther than that. But down there is the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the PS2, and then below that I have GameCube, PS1, NES, N64, Dreamcast, Sega Genesis, and SNES. Which is like the bulk of my consoles. You can't see them at all. Jeez, I thought that was gonna fall. Yeah, one day I will kind of do I can do like a tour of it. Yeah, it is a lot. Because I like to find deals on stuff, and I like to collect video game consoles. So like a lot of those consoles I found for like less than $50. Oh, it's not paradise, trust me. I don't play like any of. I only ever want like once a week. Almost none of them are plugged in. But once a week I will just kind of plug them in and test them, make sure they still work and stuff. But yeah, it's not. I don't like go in between and play all of them. I have most of the popular games for them too, like the SNES. I have like Super Mario World, Link to the Past, and like that's it. I think I had NBA Jam. You ever played on a console ever? Yeah, I kind of grew up with them. I grew up with PC too, but the games for the PC I didn't play all that much. I mostly was a console player, mostly because during the time that I grew up was like the rise of the internet, and as a little kid, I wasn't allowed to go on the internet really until I started to need the internet, so I sucked at consoles. Dang. Well, some people would say you're not missing much, because consoles are kind of for the casual, but it depends what the game is, I think. Because like I did play like WoW for a while. I played a lot of WoW. When I was first streaming, you know, Kitty Cats, because you were there. I played Hearthstone. I've kind of stopped playing Hearthstone now, but I used to play a lot of Hearthstone, a lot, and I used to like try to be a tryhard with it and like get into Legend and stuff. Well, Smash Bros is one example, but like people would say like if you play like an FPS on a console, it's kind of, and I play Overwatch on the Xbox because my friends are on there, and none of my friends really have gaming PCs, so it's actually funny. A lot of my friends don't play video games. Like my closest friends do not play video games, so I've never actually had like that person to do that. Thank you for yeah. I just got to 100 on Monday. I was very happy with it. I made a speech and everything. I was like so psyched about it. I'm so glad that we've gotten this far. But yeah, that's one thing that I kind of discussed. When's the non-existent giveaway? I don't have anything to give away, but maybe I should find something to give away for that. I've never done anything like that. I should. I don't know. I guess I never thought that my stream would get even to this point. You know what I mean? So I never really thought about that. But if for right now, the job for me is writing. The stream is fun, but if it becomes the other way around, then it becomes the other way around. You know what I mean? That couch, dude. You know how impossible it was to get through this door. I live in the city, in a city, and so everything is like this narrow, like super narrow. So that thing was a pain in the ass to get in here. Even if I did auction that off or something, no way I'm getting it out of here. I have to push it through my bay windows over here. Oh my god, that'd be awful. I should do a giveaway of something though. Maybe when we get to like 200. Once we get like a good chunk of people coming in every day. You know, once I get a little more consistent with it, and, you know, because like I actually have, I can bring it up. I kind of want to bring it up because I haven't seen it in a while. I know we're kind of sidetracking here and not writing, but we're talking about the stream. I made a Word document of streaming goals I wanted to hit this year, since this is kind of like basically what I'm doing for a job. Do a giveaway when I'm the only one on. Right, yeah. So I basically set like 3 different types of goals. One was like a realistic goal, and one was realistic. One was like a reach goal, something that I thought I could still obtain, but it's far reaching. And one was like a dream goal, which is basically like I'd have to get rated by somebody popular in order to hit that goal. You know what I mean? But my goals were like my realistic goals. I made this back in towards the end of January. That could, well, yeah, I tend to notice that, like when I get up to like 10 or 11 people watching, you know, some people just don't want to talk, which is fine. I don't care. You can do whatever you'd like. But my realistic goals were like by the end of June to be at like 300 to 800. End of June would be 6 months of me streaming, right? So 300 to 800 followers. I think that that's fair, right? I had like numbered of streams that I would have attained, the average length of the stream, right? And then average number of viewers at any given time. And I said approximately I'd like to hit 10. I think that's fine in a 6-month period to get to that point. And then I had an end of the year, which my end of the year realistic goal I'm hoping is like 1,000 followers, which would be like double the ones in June if I can get to that point, right? And then my reach goals were like by end of June to get to like 500 followers, and then 1,500 at the end of the year. And then my dream goals were to get to 1,000 followers by the end of June, which I don't know if that would ever happen. But I wrote these out just to kind of give myself some motivation, so that if I ever am like, you know, if I have a shitty stream or something like that, it just kind of gives me something to boost my not boost my morale, but more like give me motivation to keep going, kind of a thing. Because I tend to lose motivation quickly, or I tend to get motivated in things in bursts. It's actually funny, if anyone's ever watched JonTron, he talks about this, where he feels the same way. He kind of gets motivated in bursts, and it's tough for him to focus on a project sometimes because he's like, you know, he loses motivation for it. But I'm kind of the same way. Let me refresh the stream real quick. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I just tend to get really motivated into something specific for a little while, and then I'll drop off and go to the next thing, you know what I mean? So, like, right now, that's what everyone keeps telling me, is just to keep her going. Yeah, I gotta continue to do it more and more often. I mean, I think this is in the info section, but in March of 2016, I started streaming, and I went from there to December. But it was so inconsistent, and I only streamed for like between an hour and 2 hours. Every once in a while, I do a long one, and it was only Hearthstone. And then so I gained the first set of followers that I had, and then I started doing music towards the end, and then I stopped in December to kind of, because it was just not fun anymore. So I kind of took a hiatus, and then I made the decision to not only move out, but to focus my career on writing music. So I'm like, well, I'll stream it. So January 12th was the day that I came back and started streaming again. And so I've been doing it ever since. And here, it's a lot more consistent. It's a lot longer in streams. Because I have more time, because I'm just here. I don't really have a job, per se. I'm using money that I saved up through previous jobs to pay for this. So So I'm putting myself in a hole, essentially. And now it turns out there's all these other expenses because I have to actually get a new keyboard because this one is just not going to cut it when it comes to recording and writing and editing software. I had this lovely little recorder that I use to record live recordings. The only problem is this keyboard is 9 years old now. That's crazy. 9 years old, and it's just starting to die on me. I love this keyboard because the feel of it, it's a Yamaha, and it feels great. But it's just too old, unfortunately. I can't plug anything into the like 1/4-inch socket, so I can't like plug headphones in because it gets all staticky and stuff. And I've cleaned these out and stuff, and they're still horrible. MIDI doesn't work. It's supposed to. It doesn't. So I can't even do any MIDI stuff. So it's time to get a new one, and that's going to cost a couple grand. It looks familiar. It is a Zoom H4n recorder. I just got it recently for Christmas, in fact. It's fantastic, this little thing. The cool thing about... So up here we have two condenser mics, which are used for like really detailed recording. All you really do is plug it in with a 1/4-inch cable at the bottom. You press play. You press record. You record it. And then it immediately turns it into a WAV file, which is on an SD card. So I take my SD card reader that I have down here, plug it in, and just... Bam, I don't have to use like some sort of MIDI interface or anything like that, or just interface in general to transform it into a WAV file. It just does it for you, and it just, boom, you're done. It's great. Hey, I'm in the same boat. Of course, I'm a little different. I don't really seek out relationships. I don't know why. That's an interesting topic to talk about someday. You know, these relationships and stuff. I don't seek them out. I've kind of not done that. I'm not one of those people that just likes to seek that stuff out. I don't know. Some days I feel like maybe I should, and then some days I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not. Because I've been in my share of relationships, and they're just not worth your time right now. I'm in my early 20s. Why worry about it? I have a friend that's getting married. That's like crazy to me. Like we're 20. We're both 23. He's getting married. What? Like what? I can't even imagine that right now. I don't want to think about that. I'm worrying about I'm focusing on my career. I can't even think about that. That's like such an like completely like just if birth hurts that I'm not doing it. Yeah, I'm not even... I can't even think about marriage. Oh my god. That would just be... Like, I'm actually praying that I don't... everyone's like looking for the one. I'm actually hoping I don't find that until I'm in my 30s. Because I don't want to just like devote my life to that right now. It's just too much. I know I'm supposed to... I keep getting sidetracked because you guys are bringing up interesting topics and stuff, and it all started with that couch, man. That's where it's... I love that couch. I'll talk about that couch with anyone. But anyways, yeah, we're supposed to... So, how I want this to go is... So I want this to go like... Okay, so that is going to be tied. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a... So I want this to go like this. It's tied to another eighth note. And then this is kind of... It's going to be weird because it's going to be out of time. We're just going to erase these for right now because we're not in that I've played it enough that I remember the chords. That's weird. That got knocked down. Probably because I was moving around. Also, we don't need to see my TV. What the frick? There we go. That's a little better, at least. I'll have to fix that when we get offline here. So that'd be boo da ba do ba dum da do ba ba da ba 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 da ba da ba da ba ba da ba da ba da. What do you have to do? So we know this is going to hit on 3. That's on 3. And then we have... Sometimes it's better to work backwards when you're trying to figure out a bass line. Because then it would help you figure out rhythms. It helps me figure out rhythms better sometimes when I work backwards. As right now I can't think of the rhythm that I want to put here. So what I'm assuming is... Okay. This is a chromatic scale that I'm doing. And this hits on 3, because it goes... So this will go like this. So we gotta do this. Oh man, I'm running out of room. I just want to leave enough room. And then this is... Oh, wow. Wow. Look at that line. Look at that horrible line I wrote. Is there a way I can do this without having to write it out the way that I'm about to? I'm trying to think. Probably. If I wrote this as a G, sharp, and then that's horrible, but... And then sharp, sharp. I mean, for the most part, you kind of know that it's chromatic. And then I do know that this right here is going to be a 16th note of some kind. Okay? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to link up this here to here. So we have 2 beats. I started playing piano when I was 6, and I took classical lessons till the end of middle school, and then in high school I took jazz lessons, and I took them for 4 years, but I didn't understand anything. None of it made any sense to me. I was clueless. A fapping sound? Unless that's my radiator. My radiator makes weird sounds. It's on right now, so I don't know if, like, it shuts off and on at random. It might be the radiator. Anyways, yeah, I took jazz lessons and I didn't understand anything. He was just kind of going over stuff, and I was... It went right over my head. And then in college, I kind of went back and looked at it, and it made more sense, and I kind of just figured it out on my own. And then went to college and all that. Now, here I am, almost 2 years later. Yeah, you're probably hearing the radiator, I'm assuming. It's like a steam-powered radiator, and it turns on and off with the entire apartment complex. And unfortunately, I can't really do anything about that, although it's not that loud. That's awesome. It's always good to hear that somebody is like taking up piano. That's great. I wish more people would, because it's such a great instrument to start with. Okay, so I think the way that this is gonna go is like this. Yeah. Then we're gonna do this. Yep. Okay, does that make sense? This is one beat. This is half a beat. Oh, it doesn't make sense. See, it's a good thing we go over these things. No, this has to be 16th notes. Because this is one beat, this is two beats, and then this is three. See? We figured it out just by doing that. It is cool. People always say, like, you know, what instrument should you start with? Well, piano. 100%. It helps you learn every other instrument way easier. No, I don't think that's bad English. No, I mean, you're fine. I would say, so I tell this to people, because a couple people come into the stream and ask me about that. You gotta play scales. You have to learn scales and you have to play them. And that's like what's one of the most important things. And it sucks, and I don't even practice scales anymore that are like traditional scales, but you gotta learn scales. You gotta learn them and you gotta practice them, unfortunately. It's how everybody starts, but it's really one of the best ways to learn. And then I would say there's like three things that I think are lost on people that they have to learn when it comes to piano: scales, independence of hands, which I'll explain what that means in a minute, and chord progressions. If you can learn to do those three things, you could pretty much play anything on piano. I would say most anything, except maybe like specific classical stuff. It is boring to learn scales. However, you can make them interesting by playing chords underneath them. You can make them interesting by making up your own little exercises with them. But the thing is, not only does it help with your technique, which is something I severely lack. I'm lucky that, well, I'm not that lucky with it because I have, you do tend to hit a wall if you don't play with proper technique, but it helps so much. Well, that's why you got to kind of make it interesting on your own. But it's the only way to do it. Is scales, chord progressions, and independence of hands. And independence of hands basically means that you can do something with one hand that's different than the other hand. You don't just play two things at the same time. Like, for example, with this song. Right, I'm doing two different things. Right? Now, there are also extreme cases like with Bach. You gotta learn Bach. Bach is important. Although there's some really good Bach music. And he's the first person I go to because the thing with Bach is his music combines all three of those things really easily and really well. I would, honestly, first thing I would tell, like, when I teach kids, because I'll teach kids from time to time, I give them Bach music. No, I don't think anyone knows how to do those three things perfectly. Even like prodigies and professionals, they don't know. It's one of those things that's easy to learn, hard to master. It's just how it is. But yeah, Bach is so good at that. Even though Bach doesn't have any chords, all the lines that are going on all indicate chords. Which is just, it's so good. Bach, and I used to hate Bach music. I used to hate him. I used to hate his life. I wished his whole lineage would just die off. But he's genius, and the stuff that he wrote is very good. And I've come to like a lot of it, actually. Because you get surrounded by it, because I went to a classical school, and you just kind of get used to it, you know what I mean? So, okay, let's play what we have so far, because I think that's important to do at this stage. So, gonna have to come up with some other stuff. Some more interesting stuff to come up with there, but so we're trying to figure out more bass lines that we can use, and we want to make them a little offbeat and a little bizarre. So you know. We want to be a little not out of time, but we want them to sound like they're hits. Yeah, I was a big proponent of that. I really didn't like him at all, but his music is just so good. Like you analyze any of his music, which I had to do quite often in music school, and man, you just are surprised at how everything just comes together when you listen to his music. I was like, he's the worst classical person ever. He did the same thing over and over again with all of his pieces. Totally false. Totally not even true. Okay, just for fun, look up a song called Chromatic Fantasy by Bach. It is one of the most ridiculous songs you'll ever hear, and we actually had someone that played it. I don't even know how you play this song. It's so freaking crazy. When you get the chance, look it up. Chromatic Fantasy. It is just stupid impossible to play. But it's just so good. Like, it just it's one of those songs, man. Anyways, yeah, it is tough to do that kind of thing. As far as theory goes, first thing I would say is is even just listen to pop songs and learn the chord progressions to pop songs, because they're simple enough that it's a good starting point for people. Because the world really opens up to you when you realize that certain chord progressions, and the world also opens up to you when you realize that pretty much any note can work with any type of chord, if you alter it properly or if you change it properly. It just blows your mind. There are certain things that just blow your mind when it comes to like certain revelations that appear, and it's just crazy. I remember I remember the day that I had my like revelation in music, and it was like freshman year of college, and I was in my dorm room. I was sick. I was like deathly sick, and my roommate was like gone all day. So I spent most of the day playing piano, and then all of a sudden I just kind of had this revelation, like, wait a minute. And I played piano that day for like 8 hours straight, and just kind of realized, oh my god, like every note works with every chord if you just change it up. It's crazy. I know, as a chromatic fan, it's nuts. It's a nuts song. It's just, and someone played it, and she was younger than me, I think, or no, she was older than me, but she was incredible. She was a child prodigy. She had to have been. She went to the same school I went to, and she was ridiculous. Like, the teacher was just kind of like, I don't know what else to say, but great job. Like, good job, you played it. Yeah, I don't know what else I can do for you, but you know. Also, for 2 years, I had different teachers, but for 2 years I had a specific teacher that was like a ridiculous Bach fanatic. So he also embedded a lot of Bach into me, and just kind of, you know, goes from there. Anyways. Right. Right. You're very right. There's a lot of things that tie over from guitar to piano, too. So I want this to be out of time. So, wait. So what's the time signature? What's the... Because I want this to be just slightly off. No, because that's going to be on the beat, and I don't want it to be on the beat. I want it to be really off, essentially. And I keep saying it like that, but like, I want it to sound like... I've ever heard songs where there's like big hits. Everyone plays big hits. I'm trying to think of some songs off the top of my head that kind of have this sort of mentality. But there's always songs that have something like a shout chorus or something that is just a bunch of hits. And that's kind of what I want to do here. And I want it to be all offbeat and all odd and all weird. And I'm just trying to figure out how to do that because my brain will immediately go to, oh, fit this in this measure so that it makes sense. And I don't want it to make sense. That might be alright. That might be alright. So, it's still a little too, not simple, but a little too normal. That might be alright. Yeah, it's on an offbeat. That's right. It's on a beat, but it makes no sense with what I'm doing here. And the way that goes, I believe, is going to be something like this. Do. Oh, jeez, I thought I shut off the thing. Do. Do I have to... No, okay. Although this has to be naturalized. Oh god, this is going to be so disgusting. Bill Daywalker, thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it. Thanks for playing the meme. I love that meme. I love hearing that meme. I love saying that meme. It's the best one ever. But I really appreciate the follow. I hope you're enjoying what I'm doing here and being able to deal with the struggles I'm having. Do. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay. This is how this is gonna go. This is how this is gonna go. I've decided. I've made this decision. It's It's so weird, but this is how it. This is probably how it has to be written out. Yeah, go ahead. You can ask questions whenever you'd like, man. Okay, so this is still B flat minor 7, right? Then when we get to here, it's A minor 7, and then when we get to here, it's D minor 7, or D minor 6, I should say. It's D minor 6. I like that. Dub, dub, dub. So dum, ba dum, ba dum, dum. Actually, these don't have to be tied like this. I like it like that, actually. Man, this is all over the place, but doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-doo. Just curious. Memorize every single note. You mean memorize what their names are? Like memorizing that, like, this is E, F, G, A, like that? Or do you mean... I'm assuming that's what you mean. So I guess as far as that goes, I would say the way that I guess I kind of memorized everything, a lot of it was just playing scales. Again, I know it sucks, but a lot of it was just playing scales over and over again and getting used to playing scales a lot. Because you also learn what the notes are based off of what the scales are. Even the C scale. You play C major. I mean, that's like... It's like more than half the notes, so... So you kind of just pick up on that, I guess. Also, I just because it goes in alphabetical order from A to G, you just kind of remember that A is here and G is here, and it just goes up alphabetically, right? And then as far as sharps and flats go, that's a little more difficult, but I basically learned that kind of stuff just by playing the scales with sharps and flats in them. For example, G major has one sharp, F sharp, right? So I just know it's there. Another thing that might be useful is to look up the circle of fifths. Circle of fifths is something in music that basically will tell you which scales have sharps and flats in them and how they work. I don't know. I would say you probably should look at some sort of theory video, or watch a theory video. Someone could probably explain it better in a well-written video than I can on the fly, honestly. But I would definitely look up some sort of video training on music theory that kind of help along that process, because something like that is just something you sort of develop over time with everything else. I'm not saying that you need to just be able to play a note and not look at it and be able to immediately, recognize what it is. But that's just something that comes with playing things, repetition and playing things over and over again. Because unfortunately, repetition does really make, practice makes perfect. Repetition makes perfect in this case. With music, that's how it's always been. Until you get to a certain level where you can kind of I don't want to say pick and choose, but you can kind of just decide what's more important to you than other things, basically. Whether that's like learning chords or learning how to play fast or learning lines, learning how to play certain lines or learning how to play certain songs or things like that. Until you learn that. Okay, cool. I'm glad, because on the fly, I'm not going to be able to explain everything, unfortunately. But I would definitely say look up some sort of video that will explain in a better way than I can specific music theory. I mean, if I sat here and explained music theory, we'd be going all night. But a video would be able to define it probably a little bit more and condense it a little bit more than I can. So I would say look up a video about music theory and then try and apply that as you're learning scales. Because again, scales, so important. Not even just technically, but they're just important because of the theory that are involved in them. But I would say that for sure. Anyways. How did this go? Did I do this wrong? No, that's how I wanted it. Oh no, it was like that, right? I'm glad you think that I explained it well. I always think that I'm either rushing through things or like just saying like and a lot. I tend to do that because all my thoughts are kind of immediate. So I will just kind of say whatever. Let's see, like just right there. Okay, so how many beats do we have right here? We have a 16th note. We have 2/8 and another 16th, so that's like 3, 4. Okay. Yeah, because unfortunately I kind of laid this out in a bad way. So maybe we should kind of relay it out, if that makes sense. Like this. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-doo. And this is a dotted. This is a dotted 8th note. Just to define that. So doo-ba-doo-ba-dim-doo-doo. This is going to be a 16th note. And so is this. And we'll kind of put those together. So we have 1 E and 2 E and 3. So then this should be gapped. Should be gapped up. They should be together. Look at that. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4, so this should hit on 4, right? Oh god, this is so strange to me that I can't even really do it. I'm adding an extra one. It seems wrong to me for some reason. This is how I want it to go. It just seems really off. Let me sing the whole, I'm going to sing the whole thing. And just kind of map it out in my head. So, you know, let's do this. So, dun 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 bum ba da ba dum bum ba da ba da bum. Do ba da ba do ba ba do. Da ba da ba da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da ba da. This is wrong in some way. I'm writing this out incorrectly, and that's what's throwing me off. Because something was clearly off with this. This is supposed to be dotted. Okay. We have one beat here, right? We have 2 16th notes and then a 16th rest and another 16th note. So that's one beat, correct? We have 4 16th notes. That's one beat. We have a dotted 8th 16th note. That's another beat. And then we have 2 16th notes and an 8th note. That's another beat. So that's 4 total beats, correct? That's right. We got that under wraps. Okay, cool. Now this next one, we have an 8th note. This is not an 8th note, right? Yeah. I'm sorry. We have a 16th note, an 8th note, and then a dotted 8th note. So combined, that's how many beats? That's 1.5 beats, right? The dotted 8th note and the 16th would equal 1 beat, and plus the 8th note is another half beat. Then we have 2 16th notes. That's the other half beat. So that's 2 beats total. Then we have 4 16th notes. That's another beat. So we have 3 beats. So this should hit right on 4. But the way that I'm playing it in my head, it doesn't hit on 4. It hits on like the and of 4. So something is either wrong with the way I've written it, I'm playing it incorrectly, or everything is just fucked. Cancel the stream. It's over. Something is wrong here. I don't know how it got switched to that. That's what I'm doing wrong. This is what's wrong. Okay. Something here is incorrect. This is supposed to be a 16th note, not an 8th note. That's what's wrong. And it's throwing everything through a loop because I can't just write a 16th note the correct way. Okay. So now that we've discovered the problem... Oh, dang. Yeah, thanks a lot for showing up and for following, man. I really appreciate it. I have all my stream schedule times down at the bottom in the info section, and then I also have a Twitter where I update every day if anything happens or if I'm late or if, you know, things like that. So go ahead and check that out. Follow on Twitter, too, to get a better idea of my stream schedule. And, yeah, hope to see you back. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, so this is supposed to be a 16th note because we have boot up ba da ba boo boot up ba da ba da ba da ba boot up ba da ba boot up ba da ba da ba da ba da ba boot up ba da ba da ba do da boo boo da ba ba boo do boo da ba da boo do boo da ba da ba da boo do da ba da ba da boo See you, man. Have a good day. Okay. I think I've kind of discovered what I'm doing wrong. This goes like this. So that we have this. And now it's all off, right? So we have a 16th note here with 2 16th notes, and then we have 3 more beats. So that's 5 total beats. 6, 7 beats. This would be the 8th beat. So therefore, this has to be broken up differently. It almost has to be like this. And this is getting a little squished and a little odd. So I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my ability here. We are starting here on a 16th note that's tied over from the previous measure, okay? Then we have a 16th note to a dotted 8th note, because the way it goes is because this series of notes are 6 16th notes. Right? That's that series. So this is going to come in on the of 2, if that makes sense. And I'm just going to put this here just to have it there. Because this is getting real bizarre right now. Okay? But I'm trying to write this out to the best of my ability as I can. So this whole I'm gonna play this whole thing up until here. Okay. So starting there, I'm gonna play it slower too. Alright, I'm gonna do this. It's just so bizarre. I mean, I like it. This is how I wanted it to go. It's something like this, but it's just getting to the point where I'm getting myself confused. So it goes. Man, this is really even confusing me. I want to keep it though, because I like the challenge. I think it's written out correctly now. I think if I put this in sort of music software, they could probably play it better than I could. Because now this is getting to the point where it's a little too bizarre for me to even just count out and play. But I believe it's written out correctly. Da 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 da. Da 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 ba ba da ba 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 da 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 ba 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 da ba boo da boo doo ba doo ba doo do. And then this would be a 16th note like this, sharp, right? And what we have total is 2, 3, 4, with this being tied to 4. Okay, so we have half a beat here, another half a beat here, so that's 1. We have a 16th note and a dotted 8th note here, that's 2. And then 4 16th notes, that's 3. Right? So this next beat is going to be 1 beat long. So now we have to come up with the next part of the song. So let's do that. Doom ba dibba dibba doom. Doom ba dibba 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 boom. Boom ba dibba 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 doom. Doom ba dibba 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 doom. Doom ba dibba dibba doom. Doom ba dibba dibba doom. Ba dibba 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 doom. So. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Because I want it to be from 6 to 9 here. So this is going to get tied to an 8th note. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then this is going to be C sharp minor 7. And then we eventually have to get to. This is going to be so strange. I'm just warning everybody right now. So do boo doo but. So this is going to go like this. Two sharps here, sharp here, and that's the 4th beat. So I want to go over this one more time, just so that we are all on the same page as to how this is going to go, because it is weird, and I want to make sure that everyone is cool, and that I'm cool, and that everyone's awesome. We have a dotted 8th 16th note. That's 1 beat. We have a set of 4 16th notes. That's 1 beat. We have 2 16th rests and 2 16th notes. That's another beat. And then we have 2 8th notes. That's another beat. So that's 4 total beats. That's fine. Then we have 2 16th notes, another 16th note, and a 16th rest. That's 1 beat. 4 16th notes. That's another beat. A dotted 8th 16th. That's another beat. And then 2 16ths and an 8th note. That's another beat. That's 4 total beats. That works out fine. We have 2 16th notes here, and then 2 16th notes here. That's 1 beat. We have a dotted 8th and 16th. They're just gapped differently, but that's 2 beats. We have 4 16th notes. That's 3 beats. And then we have an 8th and 2 16ths. That's the 4th beat. So it makes sense logically. It's just how we play it. So we want this next part is going to go like this. Do 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 do. With the 16th note there. Boo doo 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 doo. And then we're gonna write it like this with a flat. I know now I'm starting to get away from the whole flats and naturals and stuff should not all be together, but right? No, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Because this is supposed to be a dotted 8th note, not a regular 8th note. See, this is why you always check your work. This is why you write in pencil as well. So, everything has to basically be slid down. It all works fine, it just needs to be slid down slightly. So it's, and then this is 1. Digga 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 da. So it looks like this. Do 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 do. And then it goes like this. That. Now I'll try to write it properly. It's E, D sharp. I know there's a lot of erase marks. This is why this is a rough copy. And then it's a D natural. And then it's a C sharp. And these are all 16th notes. And then this needs to get erased. This happens on 1. So it's da ba da 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 ba da da ba da 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 ba da. So we did this da like da ba da 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 ba da ba 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 ba. That might work. Da ba da da da. Like this. These are both naturalized. This is a dotted 16th. Do but did it. Da, 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 da. And then this would be do do. Like this. Da ba da 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 da. So do ba do 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 do. Now, hold on, I gotta make sure I get this right. Do 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 do. So we would write da 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 ba da 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 ba ba da. Do ba do 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 ba ba boo ba da da ba ba. Like this. That doesn't seem right to me. Da da dee 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 dee. Do 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 do. Actually, no, that would make sense. Do 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 do. One e to end. One e to end. One e end to end. One e end to end. And then do boop 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 do do do. So this would be 1 beat. This would be another 1.5. So 1 E and 2 E and a 3 E. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. No, but that doesn't seem right. What are we at here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. 1 E, the 2 E, and 1 E, a 2 E, and a 3 E, and a. Oh, it's a dotted. I'm sorry, it's a dotted, and then it's a dotted quarter. Gotcha. And then this is the B. Okay. I know I'm taking a while with this, but it's all about making sure that it's exactly how you want it. Okay. And then this would be the cue to go top. And we're not even done with the song, because this in itself is not very long, right? It's just kind of... Alright, I'm going to try to play through it to the best of my ability. I'll probably, when we get to here, I'll probably just play the bass notes, just to make sure that it all makes sense. Okay? So it goes. So, alright. You know what we need? We need a metronome. I want it to go this slow. Just to make sure it all makes sense. This is going to be ticking in the background, right? Makes sense. Okay, that made sense, right? Let's ramp it up just a bit. Like this. Oops, oops, oops. I'm trying to get to 92 because that's common. I already messed it up. Let's try it again. Alright, I have to learn this. I keep messing that up. Try it again. So we almost got it. Try it again. Ah, I screwed it up again. God, that's just so bizarre. I don't even know how I'm going to play it with the right hand. I know it's weird, but I really like how that's set up so far. Okay. First of all, first thing I want to write is this is going to be 3 times. And I kind of have to think about when these hits come in, because that'll probably help me along with playing this. This is one of those rhythms that you have to practice a bunch. It's very unusual. There's a song called "What About Me" by Snarky Puppy, which is like an awesome band, and we played that song in college, and in there's a rhythm that's very bizarre that I practiced for hours because we had to learn that rhythm really, really well, because that's like one of the core parts of the song that went like... And it was like, you know... It's just... It's weird because it's like on every and. It's just one of those... It was like... It was like that. It was really bizarre, and you had to practice it a bunch in order to get it. This is going to be one of those situations. I played that correctly. I already played around. Yeah, it's just going to be one of those situations, I guess. Oh my god. Let's try it again. Alright, so that was actually pretty close. I'm going to try it one more time, and then we're going to pause a bit. Alright, 3, 4... So that was actually correct, the way I played it. Now, I want to hear how it sounds with the piano voice, because that's going to make a world of difference as well. Now, I screwed it up slightly. Right. Oh, man. My ear is starting to hurt probably from this being on. I'll try it one more time. Alright, so that was pretty close. So now let's try it at the actual speed that it's supposed to be at. 2, 3, 4. I screwed it up. 3, 4. See, the good thing about that is even though I screwed that up, like quite a bit, I was able to get back on track with it because I knew where in the beat I was. So that's still okay. As long as I know where I am in the beat, it will be, it'll work out. I'm going to take a short break, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to try to finish up some of this. I don't know how much of it we're going to get done, because I need to leave probably at around 1:30. But I'm going to leave you with the actual core song, so you can take a listen to it while I'm gone.